Folks, welcome back to the Wanneroo channel. We have some awesome content coming up for y'all this fall on the channel. One of the things we are going to be doing is this review right here on this lower here today. The TWL large frame Glock clone lower that was put out by Lone Wolf Arms. And so the thing with this out there is, you know, the Glock build business is kind of a huge thing these days. There's all sorts of companies catering to it, building all sorts of parts and slides and lowers and barrels, and it is like it's just unbelievable to me, just the amount of stuff out there that you can purchase. But typically what I find is that most of it is for Glock 17, Glock 19 kind of, you know, firearms. And there's not really a lot out there for, you know, large frame Glocks. If you want to build a Glock 45 ACP or a 10 millimeter Glock, you don't really have a lot of choices out there. And so Lone Wolf Arms, they put out this lower, and this is, you know, what I want to do a review on and have a closer look at. And so what we'll do is we'll get back to the workshop. We'll take the upper off. We'll have a good look. There are some differences. Now, one of the things I have found with a lot of these large framed Glock 45 ACP 10 millimeters is they kind of use a mishmash of parts. So it's not as straightforward as the Glock 19, Glock 17 stuff. So that is one thing I'll get into whenever we look at this lower here and have a peek at it. So let's get to it. All right, folks, so here we are tabletop with our TWL frame. So the big selling point for me with this one was they kind of reduced a lot of the polymer up through here and kind of tried to slim it down the best they could while retaining those dimensions that they needed to make all this work with all the different parts. So to me, it feels more like a Glock 17 rather than like a big chunky Glock 21. So I think a lot of people would appreciate that with this. I think they'll like it. They'll be happy with that. So that is one thing to be aware. They did try to kind of slim this up the best that they could. So I like it. Like I said, a kind of a, you know, selling point for me that I like. The other thing to be aware of is that with this being a Gen 3, Gen 4 hybrid, there are a few little parts differences that we'll go through. You can get this stripped or you can get it assembled. Personally, I would just go the assembled route. It's only, whenever I was buying, it's only like $50 more, and it already comes complete, and you don't have to, like if you just have Gen 3 parts only, you don't have to go hunting any other parts or whatever. They also, if you do get the stripped one, on their website, they do sell a parts kit for this, specific to this frame, with everything that you need. I ended up having to order that because, like, for instance, I didn't have a locking block in my parts, and I didn't have a Gen 4 mag release and all that. I ended up having to order all these parts anyways or whatever. I couldn't just use all the Gen 3 parts that I had laying around on hand and all that. So just be aware of that. The other thing, too, is you can use a Gen 3 or Gen 4 slide. So if you're going to use a Gen 4 slide, you just pop this tab out. You can see you just take a screwdriver in one of those two holes right here and just pry it out. And otherwise, you just leave that tab in place for Gen 3 slides. The slide lock right here, I have the Lone Wolf part installed that has a little more meat on it. So that's nice. That's always one thing that kind of irritates me about Glocks, is getting the slide off for cleaning. The factory ones, it's kind of very narrow on them. You can't really get a good grip on them a lot of times. And I don't know, this just, you know, feels just a little bit better, just a little more leverage there. So that's nice. All through here, we do have a Gen 4 trigger housing, so be aware of that. On the Glock 21 SFs, they, even on the Gen 3s that they sell or whatever, they use the Gen 4 housing. So be aware of that. Lone Wolf has some sort of universal something trigger housing. So I just went ahead and installed their part with this. The other thing, the disconnector, I did change that out. For whatever reason, their disconnector didn't work too good. So I put an OEM Glock one in there, and everything is going fine. So I also tried a Glock disconnector in there, and a Ghost disconnector in there, and that didn't work either. So not sure what the deal is. If you guys are Glock disconnector wizards out there, maybe you have some further information or whatever, feel free to post it below. Even if this you see this video 6 months or a year down the road or whatever, always interested in good information others can provide. And that's kind of the great thing about YouTube, is exchanging information with one another. The other thing, we've got our Gen 4 magazine release here. So bigger button, your Gen 3 part doesn't work, so you're going to need that Gen 4 part for this. And then also down here at the bottom, they have like a beveled magazine well. Now, if you want to, you can remove this if you so choose. But you can see it's got some nice beveling there. It isn't metal, it's just polymer. So, sometimes for a lot of competition folks, they like the metal ones. But it is polymer. If you don't like it, just get rid of it. Myself personally, it doesn't bother the hand at all or my grip or anything. Everything fits fine. I actually kind of like it. It seems like my hand kind of like sits on it. So for me, it works. If you don't like it, ditch it. The other thing too, there is an additional back strap that it comes with. I haven't bothered to pry this one out or anything, but there's another back strap that comes with it. You can swap it out, try that out. But yeah, that's pretty much all the features. And let's take this out now and let's go and shoot it. See what we think, have a little bit of fun with it, and we can wrap it up at the end. All right, folks, so here we are at our winter range. Okay, folks, so now here we are on a very cold day out here. Just got 6 inches of snow. Beautiful weather out here, and it's about 18 degrees, so it's a little cold. But I got Mr. Heater right here behind me keeping me warm. And it's time to wrap up this review of this Lone Wolf TWL lower. So the cool thing with this that I really like is they did a lot of that work through here with the grip. And as a result with this, it really kind of feels like you're shooting basically a Glock 17, but you're obviously shooting, in this case, 45 ACP. So when I'm shooting it, it kind of feels like I'm shooting my Glock 17, really, and not that big, chunky, Glock 21 grip. So as a result, in the end, it almost feels like you're getting 45 ACP in a 9mm package, and I don't know, I just like shooting it. It's a lot of fun, and just makes it a lot easier to shoot. The other thing with this too is that I think it's priced pretty affordably as well. So especially these days with a lot of the economic stuff going on, to do a pistol build or something like that, I think it keeps it relatively affordable, compared to some different options out there. So yeah, very happy with it in the end. I would say, yeah, I would get another one and probably do like maybe a 10mm build at some point. Not going to happen this year, too many other new projects coming, but definitely something I'll consider down the road. So in the end, I got to give it a positive review because it's worked out real well. And, been very happy with it, so can't complain. So we're going to shoot a couple more rounds with it. And we're going to go ahead and call it a day and go get some hot chocolate because it's pretty damn cold out here. All right, we'll see y'all next time.